Your best muscle. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 208 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and have you ever wondered what's your best muscle? And when we talk about best, we're talking about the most useful one. If you haven't, well, I'm here today to dig into this topic with you, and maybe you'll see that it's not what you expected. Before we start, as usual, if you end up liking this episode, leaving a like and subscribing really mean a lot. They're just one clicks, but they really make the difference. Thank you very much. So, let's start with some hypotheses. What could it be? Some would say they're legs. They bring you everywhere. They're fundamental for basically any activity that you might do. And in general, if anything would be to happen to them, the changes would be pretty drastic. Some others consider the core the most important one because it keeps everything together. It keeps you straight, it lets you walk, it lets you do basically anything. And even though these are very important ones, and for sure they're a must, they still cannot go anywhere close what I'm about to present to you. For the technical people, or if we have any doctors listening here, I know it's not technically a muscle, but I think that the interesting bit that makes it a muscle is that it can be trained like one. And if you have seen the thumbnail, it's no surprise, but I'm talking about the brain. Now, why am I trying to bring up this topic? Exactly for what I told you a few seconds ago. What makes the brain interesting, at least from my point of view, besides the multiple reasons that one might have, all the complexities that it has, all the things that we still do not know, and all the processes that happen in just a split second. Myself talking to you in this moment, in my brain, so many things are happening. Given that I'm not talking in my first language, I'm trying to make up a speech on the fly. So lots of things are happening. And you could say that what I'm doing right now is training. But training for what? And here's the interesting bit and the core of today's message. The beauty about your brain and the reason why it needs training is that it's absolutely versatile. It is able to handle and it is able to address any, and here, any needs to be taken with a grain of salt, but it can handle any kind of task you throw at it. The results will vary upon the level of training that you have done on that task. But overall, there is this link between you having the initiative and wanting to do something and the activation of your brain to actually accomplish that task. What I find problematic and something that myself I've been suffering quite a bit of, at least compared to the period in which I was in school / university, even way more university, is that during your day-to-day activities, chores, and overall in your life, it is actually very hard to put your brain in a training mode. Why do I say that? Well, because one of the things that the brain is very capable of doing is identifying patterns and sticking to it. There's a reason why I myself, but in general, when we are talking about self-improvement, we preach habits. Habits are so strong and are such a fundamental part of what we do is strictly connected to the fact that your brain is very, very good at assimilating them the moment that it perfects them. Once a habit is set into your brain, you will have no need to expand energy to do that stuff. It's just a habit. It will just happen. If you recall from previous episodes, and if you haven't, I really encourage you to do, this would be what we described many times as System 2. It's just something that your brain knows. It's just something that your brain is able to do. And, it's just gonna go and do it. Going back to our everyday lives, you will realize that all the things that you do are not that out of the comfort zone that you have set for yourself. Sure, you might have a task here and there, maybe at work, maybe in a social environment, but overall, for how we evolved, we want to stick to those patterns because we know it's the easiest, we know it works, and it keeps us going. So, what can we do to actually train this muscle? Well, it's very simple. Go out there and do something that you're not capable of doing at all, or that you're trying to perfect. And the crazy thing is that, as for any kind of muscle in your body, the moment that you will put on repetitions and specifically wanting to do those repetitions, so you just not do again something just for the sake of doing it, because we fall then again into what I just described, all these patterns that you already know how to solve. Those will not improve your brain, will just use it, and you will just use already what you have. Whereas, if you challenge it, if you go out of your comfort zone and actually go for something meaningful, you will see that even though the struggle will be there and it will be frustrating, you will be able, bit by bit, day by day, to actually build something. And there's gonna be a moment in which all this hard work will have paid off because you will realize that suddenly you are able to do that thing, either from scratch or you reached a level of perfection that before you were not capable of doing. The beautiful thing, and again, to conclude, on today's episode, is that this is a very unique feature of the brain in the sense that any other muscle, it's very good at doing something, You use your legs for something specific, your back, your arms, or again, whatever muscle you want to talk about, they have very specific tasks and they're very good at it if you train them properly. The brain on the other side is both capable of being very good at something in which you have trained, but it's also versatile enough to be able to tackle any kind of problem that you throw at it. So it's like, on paper, the perfect muscle because you're able to do anything at any time as long as you have put the hours in it. So why not start today and go ahead to train your best muscle? Having said that, that was all for today. Thank you very much for listening. A bit of a more inspirational episode today. I wasn't so inspired myself, I have to be honest. This is one of the thoughts that I had while I was on the plane. I was really thinking of this idea, of the brain as a muscle. And even though it's something that, again, it's not the most unique thought that you might have heard in your life, but it's very good to be reminded of, I think, again, the core bit is, are you realizing how much you can do with it? Because you might be already using it for several tasks, but can you imagine how much more you could do if you actually put the time in? So yeah, go out there, try it, experiment, and let me know if you also believe that this is the best muscle. Having said that, thank you very much for listening. As always, if you like this episode, leaving a like and subscribing help a lot. And as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Shower Podcast, and see you tomorrow.